Okay, today I want to talk about a topic that really spun me around quite a bit in the beginning. So I remember it was about, I don't know, a year or two ago, and I was having a conversation with my therapist. And I do see a therapist. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I remember I was talking about the topic of forgiveness, right? And she immediately said, "Oh, I don't believe in carte blanche forgiveness." What? And in fact, then what she said was she actually believed that in some ways, the whole act of making people feel like they must forgive somebody that has done some sort of severe trauma against them is actually re-traumatizing you, the person. And I went, oh, right. And I kind of felt like I was onto something here. Like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I have permission that I don't have to sit in this space of forgiveness of, certain things, right? And I'm talking about extreme things, right? This is my Trauma Tribe series here that we're talking about. And I remember after that really sitting and thinking about that and saying, well, what does this forgiveness mean, right? And what I got to was a couple things. So just in my spiritual awakening, when I got to the point that when we talk about things like good versus evil, right? The term evil is not a scientific one, it's actually a religious connotation. And so I started looking at the term forgiveness from that standpoint. And I realized that that forgiveness is also a religious standpoint. So if you are, a religious person, then you've been stuck in this loop, right? How do I forgive somebody for being so horrific to me and, traumatizing me in such an awful way? And a lot of us get stuck there. And for me, what I can tell you helped me in my journey was it wasn't about forgiveness. Not at all. In fact, the key was simply acceptance. Simply acceptance of that happened. That happened. Right, wrong, good, bad, evil, pathological, whatever, horrific, doesn't matter. I'm not forgiving that person, but I am accepting that this happened to me. And when you get to that space of acceptance, that's actually when you feel this little weight kind of lifted and like you can breathe a little bit again. And, for me, I feel like so many people get caught in that whole, you have to forgive. If you don't forgive, the person, forgive them, forgive the sin, hate the sin, not the sinner kind of stuff, right? And it gets us stuck in that loop of, wait a minute, it's kind of like the free pass. Are you saying that, I'm forgiving them so it's okay? Well, definitely not. And for me, that's why I think that's why I get triggered with the term forgiveness, is because it's very much associated with the religious connotations, which I struggled with growing up. And therefore, I've got a problem with the whole you want me to forgive because it leads right into the religion aspect. And I've got other problems with the religious aspect, right? The idea in religion, for example, that you can, go to confession, say 10 Hail Marys, and, God's like, come on up to the pearly gates, even though, you sexually abused a whole bunch of children. Excuse me? So for me, the term forgiveness is actually triggering when it comes to, things like sexual abuse. To me, it's a no-go. Somebody consciously made the decision to do that to another human being. And yet now in this space, you want me to consciously make the decision to forgive them for, the horrible thing that they did. Well, I don't think I need to forgive them. I think I need to get to a place of acceptance with myself that it happened. And then I need to get to the point of, letting go of, the trauma that did happen so I can heal, and to not be wrapped up in that. But, that place of forgiveness is a real stuck point, right? And that's where we hold on to that energy. That's where we're like, and we're angry, because the idea is that you have to forgive them, and that concept alone kind of makes your head want to explode. All right. And I'm not down with that. Now, The other key thing for me with acceptance is it allows you to sit in a space of saying, I'm not forgetting what happened. I'm also not absolving what happened as acceptable. And for me, the term acceptance is definitely the space that you want to sit in, because that allows you to start letting go of some of the anger. Okay. And it starts getting you in a mindset of, all right, I'm accepting this. Now, how do I change? How do I fix some of the ways that I'm wired? How do I fix, how I think about certain things? How do I navigate, the future differently? Versus being in that space of forgiveness where people are like, I will never forgive you. And like, oh, you're going to hold on to that anger forever and it's going to destroy you. Well, holding on to the anger, yes, it will destroy you. But I think that's where a lot of us are stuck, is that term forgiveness. We don't like it. It means a whole lot of things to us, but that meaning is all tied into the religious concepts. And so once we break away from the idea that we have to forgive somebody for their horrific acts of violence against us, and we simply sit in the space of, I'm going to simply accept that this situation happened to me, and I'm going to further on move and grow, and realize that person, that person's avatar is completely broken, and there's no help for them. You are able to actually start to breathe, and you're able to kind of clear your head, and you're able to actually start letting go of your anxiety and your frustration, and you're able to start looking to the future for, okay, what do I need to do, right? What do I need to do to fix my broken self? How do I need to heal the brokenness within me? So for me to you, sit in a space of acceptance and drop that word forgiveness. If you like this video, like it, and I've got more in my Trauma Tribe series, so feel free to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram and Facebook for my life advice at Talk to Palace. For life coaching, visit my site at talktopalace.com.